Thank you everyone for joining in. Hi, Yusuf from Ethiopia and Lawrence and
Uh,
Charles.
all right. Good day, everybody. Once again, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you're joining us from. Once again, I'm fortunate. I'm really, really happy to have you all on call. So I'm going to share the link to the YouTube live streaming so you can share with your colleagues who are probably trying to join the Zoom call. So this webinar is brought to you by the African Community for Systematic Reviews and Meta-Analysis and Author Aid. ACSRM is a capacity building organization, and we are committed to building capacity in systematic reviews and meta-analysis. So our mission is to train researchers in LMICs to be able to conduct systematic reviews and meta-analysis. So we officially launched 2022, and since then we've been rolling out webinars and workshops on systematic reviews and meta-analysis, as well as mentorship programs. So aside training, we also, oh, sorry, someone is saying she can't hear me. I don't know if I'm a bit audible now. Can you hear me, Lenny?
Yeah, you're loud and clear, Fortune. We can hear you.
Okay, so we also organize mentorship programs, and in these mentorship programs, we guide review teams to publish and conduct systematic reviews. So we provide a collaborative team and mentors for them to, publish their systematic reviews. So you can learn more about us in our website. I'm sharing in the chat box now. So Author Aid is a capacity building organization, and we're currently supported by Author Aid. Author Aid has been around for over 30 years, and Author Aid provides support for LMIC researchers as well to conduct their research and publish. So we'll learn more about these organizations later in the webinar, and we're sharing links to our social media handles, and you can follow us and you join our WhatsApp community groups and our Google community groups. So for now, today we'll be discussing artificial intelligence tools in systematic reviews. And the facilitator for today is Dr. Lenny Vasathan T. So Dr. Lenny, it's over to you, and thank you for honoring our invitation. So, sorry, before you go ahead, please, can we keep all questions to the question and answer box? Because there is a lot going on in the chat box, and it's possible for us to miss your question. So prefer that questions only come in the question and answer box. So if you want to do your introductions or call for collaborators for a systematic review you're working on, you can keep it in the chat box. But then questions concerning the webinar or concerning what we do can come in the question and answer box. Thank you very much. Over to you, Doctor.
Thank you so much. It's just overwhelming to see so many people joining here, and it is a great pleasure to be able to talk to you all on artificial intelligence tools for systematic reviews. And this is an introduction. This is just to introduce you to artificial intelligence tools for systematic reviews. To start off with, I am a physiotherapist by profession. I finished in 2005 from Christian Medical College, Vellore, and my master's in 2010. And I'm currently affiliated to Physiotherapy Christian Medical College, Vellore, and also I am an honorary clinical senior lecturer in Melbourne University. I've got some publications and also a few awards. So there are a few ground rules I would like you to follow. We would like you all to keep your audio muted. This will be helpful for others to listen to carefully. And if you would like to keep your videos on, we'll be happy to see some faces. And we can use the Q&A function for asking any questions. If anything is not clear, especially if you feel that I'm speaking too fast, I would like you to just raise your hand to clarify or this is going to be a time of mutual learning, so we would like you to feel free to ask questions. You don't have to feel shy or feel intimidated, because this is a time where we all are going to learn from each other. So thank you, Fortune, and ACSRM, the African Community for Systematic Review and Meta-Analysis, for giving me this opportunity. I'd like to thank my institute, Christian Medical College, Vellore, for arranging and taking care of the administrative things, and especially Author Aid, because without author aid, I don't think we would have had the connect with the ACSRM. Before starting this presentation, I need to say that I have no conflicts of interest to declare, and I did not receive any funding for this presentation. And those of you who probably do not know Vellore is probably in the southernmost part of India, in a state called as Tamil Nadu. Though the map looks it looks nearby, it's pretty far off. I understand that you are 4.5 hours behind us. The time right now is probably about 3:15 for us. So it gives me a great privilege to be able to share from a southernmost part of the country to people from multiple countries. So it gives me a great privilege. And also, I would like to start with a disclaimer. The contents of these presentations are my views on the topic and does not endorse the views of my institutions or other people. And also this presentation, I did not use any artificial intelligence tools for making this presentation. And before we start, may I invite you all to go to menti.com and hit the code 12014499. Just to make it a bit more interactive, we will make sure that it's an anonymous one. May I request all of you to go to Menti, and there are 8 people. Just want to know if you are able to see the screen on Menti. If you're able to join, if there are any problems, please let me know. Are people being able to join in? Okay, there are 2 who've joined in. Keep it coming, people. This will help us to understand more about you and also what your expectations are. So menti.com and use the code 12014499. Or if you are tech savvy, you can use the QR code and join in. Maybe we'll wait for another minute before we launch this poll. Is there anyone who's got an issue or a problem? Please, you can raise your hand. We can help you out if there's any problem. Maybe another 15 seconds. We can go on. Okay, thanks for people who've joined in. All right, let's go. Oh, people have already finished. Okay, how to use AI for SR to be able to systematic review, apply AI in systematic reviews, to learn about conduct. Okay, to learn about AI in physiotherapy. Okay, that's interesting. Overview of AI. Okay, something new. More about AI, hands-on, current trends. AI ethically in systematic review. That's an interesting one to gain relevant knowledge. Okay, not only systematic review, but academic articles, but I think we are going to talk mainly about systematic reviews. I think you can use it for other things as well.
Sorry, Lenny, we are not seeing the results from the Menti.
Oh, you're not able to see them? Oh, really?
Yeah.
I think some of them are able to see it, Fortune.
Okay.
We've got about 109 plus responses. Okay, how AI tools can be used for systematic reviews, gain relevant knowledge, AI. Okay, this is a smart person. Shorten my literature review process. Okay, how can I submit my systematic review for publication? That I have not covered about much, but I will talk to you about it. Ethics. Somebody's mentioned about SR and MA. Unfortunately, we are not going to talk about meta-analysis. We're going to stick on to systematic review. If we have some time, we can talk about it at the end. Current AI tools. Okay. Okay, whether use of AI is advisable or not. Okay, that's an interesting call. I think each of us have to make. Build my skills. Okay, so that's an interesting one. We'll probably go to the next one, where how would you rate yourself in relation to systematic reviews? Okay, we have people who are researchers who have published more than one article. Okay, and there are some budding researchers who are working on a systematic review. I have termed people as novices who only heard the name of systematic reviews a few days back. Okay, there are some people who are experts who have done it in the past and now guide students. This is a wonderful mix of people where we have people who are researchers, who are published, people who are working on reviews, and there are some experts, which is good to know. I'm sure they'll be happy to pitch in if there's a need. And there are some novices among us who probably haven't even heard the name of systematic reviews. This is a good opportunity to talk to all of you. Okay, there's another expert in the house. That's nice. Okay, people are joining in. Thank you. So we've got about 20, 50, about 70 to 80 responses, which is very good. So this is a real good mix of people. Probably the experts have come down. I think people who want to learn more are more here, which is nice. All right. So we go to the next one. Okay, what are the challenges you have faced or heard about performing systematic reviews? Okay, gray literature. I have not tried SR before. Removing duplicates, that's something we'll look about. Few original published data, I think then it becomes a problem with the topic. I don't know how to go about it. All right. Software is to be used. Fine. Okay, lack of expertise yet to be introduced. Okay, searching. I'm new, never tried it. Need a statistician on board. Okay. How to frame a good review strategy and data extract appropriately. Okay, it is a daunting process and must necessarily have at least two people working on together. Okay. Timeliness, access to software, lack of know-how, retrieving the articles. That becomes a problem depending on where we are from. Getting the articles becomes a major challenge. Software, how to use them, new to it. Okay, registration of protocols, exclusion criteria, cost of software subscription. I think it all boils down to how much access we have and how much money we'll be able to spend. Okay, data analysis using AI, it's coming up big time. Evidence synthesis and meta-analysis. Meta-analysis we may not be talking too much about, but we can deal with it a bit if we have some time. And, all right. Thank you so much for your active participation. So invariably, there are a group of people who know about it, about systematic reviews, and there are people who are trying to learn about it, and there are some people who are there to guide more people about it. So this is about listing the process involved in preparing a systematic review. This is for people who are new to systematic review, and also to identify the common challenges that we face during the process of a systematic review. And at the end, we would explore the role of artificial intelligence and how we can optimize them in systematic reviews. All right. To start off with, the systematic review process starts with developing a protocol for a study, following which we identify a search strategy, we select our studies, extract the data, do the risk of bias, at the end, analyze the data, and interpret the findings, and finally, writing it up. So these are probably Lenny's systematic review process. There are multiple ways. This is what is what this is. As I said, this is a disclaimer. These are my views. There are different ways that people talk about. Cochrane has a 12-step progress. I've kept this in this format for easy understanding. So coming on to protocol development, I think this is the, yes, somebody's got a question. Admin, you've raised your hand. Do you want to ask anything?
Yeah, Lenny, would you prefer the questions to come in while you're doing your presentation or maybe
Yes.
after?
I would prefer the questions while I'm talking because it's easier. There's no point in going beyond the topic. If there's a person who's got a question on protocol development, I can't be dealing it at the end. So if you
Okay.
have questions, I would like you to please raise your hand and we can unmute and we can answer your questions. Or if you want, we can take it from the chat also, or the Q&A component. Okay, somebody says, I can't see the slides. Is the slides okay? Can people see the slides?
Yeah, very okay, please. It's okay.
Okay. And there's a person who says how to perform systematic review in engineering, whether you are an engineer or whether you are a medical doctor, whether you are an astronomist or whatever, the steps are the same. So it all starts with developing a protocol. So this is the first step because we need to know what we are doing. So it all starts with deciding what needs to be done in a systematic review. There are a few components here, which is a well-formulated research questions. Unfortunately, many times we fail because we do not have a proper research question. And also we need to decide on what are the methods I'm going to do for my review. Am I going to look at RCTs or am I going to look at observation studies or am I going to look at cohort studies? So getting the research question is the first step and deciding on what are the methods for the review is the next important step. Nowadays, it becomes very important to publish a protocol. There's a specific reason why I put a question mark for publishing the protocol, because by the time we finish our protocol and send it for publication, there are two other studies which are already been published. So then it becomes a waste of time for us because we do not know what to do. I would recommend people who are writing a systematic review to please publish your protocols, which would be very helpful because you own the material. It becomes your intellectual property and the journal's property. And even if you are finishing the review, you can quote that you pre-published the protocol. And there are some platforms where you can do your protocols as well if you have some limited money. Systematic reviews can be pre-registered in Prospero, and scoping reviews can be pre-registered in OSF. OSF is Open Science Framework. If you send a paper for publication, they will ask whether the protocol has been published. So it becomes imperative to publish a protocol, but most importantly, it becomes important to have your own protocol. Okay. Can the protocol be published before data extraction analysis? Yes. Ideally, protocol can be published because some people, what they do is they wait until they get the data analysis because they're very scared if you put the protocol, somebody else will finish the data. But definitely, the protocol, getting it published as early as possible is helpful. Okay. What is a protocol in this context? The protocol is what is your research question? What will be your methods? What are the things that you will analyze? What are the things you will do? Is what is a protocol. So protocol is telling people what am I going to do with my review? What is my question? What are the methods? Or rather, what is the question that I'm trying to answer? Okay, somebody's asked, can I send this presentation by email? Definitely, don't worry. I will send it to Fortune, and I think Fortune can say send it across to people. If you have questions, I would be happy to take questions because I think the more interactive it is, I think the better for us, so that we can go one by one. Any questions in the protocol? Please feel free to use the Q&A. I'll be happy to take it. I think it's important for us to know what a protocol is and the importance of getting the protocol before we start the study. I think that's important. We need to have the protocol ready before we start the study. All right. Okay, the next thing is our search strategy. Typically, we have information specialists or the librarians who would do the search strategy for us. And the next common thing in the protocol is about what are the databases that we are going to use the search strategy on. And each database has a separate search strategy which we need to be adapting it to. And then we have to run the searches. When we have multiple searches from multiple strategies, there are results which will be duplicated in multiple database search. So the first thing, once we get the searches, we need to deduplicate the results, which means we have to remove the duplicates, and then we have to prepare for study screening. So a search strategy is where you decide on what are the things that you're going to do for finding the articles. Typically, having an information specialist or a librarian is very, very helpful. Identifying the databases, adapting it to multiple databases, running the searches, deduplicating it, and preparing it for study screening. Okay, how do we publish the protocol? There are some journals which are there which would accept publishing your protocols. Some of the journals which I have published protocols, there's an BMG Open, there is PLOS1 or PLOS1, BMC, musculoskeletal disorders, and multiple journals are there. But only concern is they may want you to pay some money. If you are a person who's from LMIC, there are high chances that they may kind of waive off the registration fees or the article processing fees. Okay, please, can you explain the search strategy? Probably I'll do one thing, Elizabeth, about the search strategy. When we talk about the AI, I'll come back and do the search strategy examples, because it might be difficult for me to explain it right now because I don't have anything to write. I will explain the search strategy in some time when we do the things. And in study selection, it's always better to have two independent reviewers because it strengthens the strength of the review. Typically, the softwares which I used are Excel because it's easy, freely available for many people. The investigators are blinded and they do it independently. And they are in agreement, they become into agreement, and then they start recruiting it for the other level where it is the full text screening. The screening criteria is something which is very, very important because based on this is how we include the articles for the review. So there are two levels, or some people say three levels of screening. One, we screen all the titles and abstracts, then we screen the full text, and then we have a consensus between articles which one independent reviewer say it is good. There are some people say it's not good. So one article, so then you mix it up and do it together. Okay. There's a nice question which says about how does one build a good search term? It's a great question. I think it comes with practice, and also looking at multiple studies also helps to identify whether the search strategy is good. There's something called as a PRESS, PRESS. It's a checklist for peer review of search strategies. So you get the peer review done for the search strategy. It's helpful. And this does not come after the protocol. This comes with the protocol because I'm talking about how I will do because we are running the search. So we got the protocol ready. We are getting our hands into action. Unfortunately, Samuel, we do not have access with librarians, but we can give you some contacts of people who may be helpful with doing the deduplication and search strategies. So we have the protocol which is ready, and search strategy comes as part of the protocol, if that's the one we are looking at, Evelyn. Okay. The next important thing is about data extraction. It's always important to have a pre-decided data extraction form because it becomes too tedious for us to decide on what forms for what are the data to extract when we are having the article. So it's always important to have a pre-decided data form, which is based on the protocol, of course. And also we have to decide on the outcomes which we are extracting from the article. This is one of the most time-consuming steps. It takes a lot of time because we have to read the article. On an average, it takes about 45 minutes to an hour for doing data extraction of one article. Become an expert, it takes about 30 to 45 minutes, depending on your idea about the subject, the length of your data extraction form. This is a very important step because this is what decides the quality of results. If we get good data extraction, we will get good results. And it's also good to have two independent reviewers doing the data extraction. Okay, this is an interesting point. Okay, I am too fast. I'm sorry. How do you
Yeah,
assess? Sorry, thanks for that.
sorry, Len. Sorry, Lenny.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm really sorry to interrupt you. We have questions on YouTube as well, so just let me know
Oh,
when I can read them.
yeah, please go ahead and read it. No problem. We can take it right now.
Okay, great. So we have question from Mutala Haruna. Is there any tool for deduplicating the result?
There are a lot of tools for deduplication. We will come back to it when we talk about the AI tools. So,
Okay.
what's happening right now is we are talking about the routine processes in a systematic review. I think it's important for us to understand where AI comes in once we know the process, because we have people who do not know about systematic review. So, for the benefit of people, I'm just talking about systematic reviews. So, once we have some general idea about systematic reviews, then we'll go into how AI or softwares can be helpful.
Okay, so I think that also answers Larry Matthew
Mm-hmm.
question. She's asking, how will the software look like Covidence help extract data? So I think you'll be coming to that.
Yeah, I'm coming to it at the end. So we are not talking about the softwares at the moment. We are talking about the process of a systematic review at the moment, and then we will go on.
All right, thank you.
Okay, so we spoke about the protocol where we have a pre-existing protocol about what we are going to do. Then we discussed about a search strategy, which is important to decide which are the articles we need to take. I spoke about deduplication and data extraction. Data extraction, it's good to have a pre-decided data extraction form. And what are the outcomes that we're going to take? This is a time-consuming step, but this is the most important step to get a good and rich data. There is a question about how do you assess agreement? Any statistical test? Yes, there are statistical tests. There are ICC and there's kappa agreement. So it's important to, if you're doing the statistical test, it's good to mention those in the protocol and say, how did you come to a consensus at the end of it? Okay, what kind of data are we extracting? What are we looking out in these articles? It depends on your study. It depends on your research question. It depends on what you want to get out of it. So have a study question, then decide on the data you're going to take and take it accordingly. Okay, is the pre-decided data extraction form readily available? Yes. There are some Cochrane review groups who have their own data extraction form, but it may not be very specific to your study. It's good to have some data extraction form, but adapt it to our own use. I think then it becomes easier. Okay, so next we are moving on to the risk of bias or data analysis and interpretation of findings. So depending on the type of study that you're going to use for your systematic review, the risk of bias changes. If it's RCT, you can use ROB2, or you can use CAS, you can use multiple things which are there. If it's non-randomized studies or observation studies, we can use an Ottawa scale or a Newcastle scale. There are multiple things we can use depending on your study that we are using. See, this is where it is important for us to decide on what we are going to do in our study. Unless we are sure of what we are going to do, it becomes very difficult to find out. So risk of bias is a manual task which will take a lot of time. And then we use the data analysis based on the protocol. one of the main reasons why we have protocol being published or readily available is because of outcome reporting bias. Because people tend to use only the things which are statistically significant and say that these are the outcomes which are significant. So to avoid outcome bias is why we have to publish the protocol, one of the reasons, and we can do the analysis based on what a protocol is. And if there are some deviations, it is always good to mention in the review. And lot of papers get stuck after data extraction because we do not have time to write the findings and write the interpretation. But these are things which are key to the paper, because this is what will help the reader, and this is what will help people to understand more about evidence-based practice and also improving the evidence. Any questions which you would like me to answer? I'd be happy to take.
All right, Lenny, some participants are suggesting if they could bring in their questions at the end of your session.
No problem.
Instead of,
okay, yeah. I would probably not take questions. I will get on with the presentation and then we'll take questions at the end. Okay,
yeah,
before we start on the AI, I
you.
think we'll take questions. I understand some people may be distracted. I'm sorry. So, yep. So, risk of bias, data analysis, and interpretation are important. And then the writing it up. This is the commonest step, which kind of is difficult for many people, many of us, because we don't have time. There are other things which keep coming up. And also we wait for the perfect time to complete the write-up. And sometimes we send it to co-authors. We never get the papers on time. We send one of our paper to one of our co-authors. The author took about 3 to 6 months to send the comments. So it becomes very difficult. And suddenly we have new ideas. We change analysis. So, excuse me. So it becomes important to stick to the protocol. So how much ever new ideas we come, we stick to the protocol. And also if there's a change, we always mention in the review that there is some deviation from the protocol. I think those are things the journals will agree rather than not changing it. I think it's important that we be transparent in whatever we do. Okay. Now we finished with the usual processes or a flow chart of the process involved in a systematic review. Next, the common challenges that we have. If you ask our students, the first common challenge they say is, I can't find a research question. They find a research question, then they really do not know how to find the search terms. And typically, the AMSTAR guidelines says you have to search your keywords in at least 2 databases, because each database has a different syntax. So how do I change it to different databases? And screening of articles is another major problem because it takes a lot of time. Some people have access to software, some people don't have access to software. It becomes a problem. The next phase is where data extraction, it takes a lot of time. Some people do not know how to do it. It takes a lot of effort to be able to do the data extraction. It takes time to interpret the findings. And ultimately, it is very difficult and it's time consuming for people to write it up. So these are things what I'll be covering up about how artificial intelligence can help with most of the problems that I've mentioned over here. If there are any questions, I'll take it. Because we are going into artificial intelligence, if there's any question that I would that you would like to ask, we will take it right now, and then we'll move on to artificial intelligence, and then the demonstration. If there are any questions, please. Okay, there's one question. Okay. How can I make a data extraction form? What kind of data are we extracting? I think this is a question. As a reviewer, you would be able to answer this because data extraction is something unique to the study that you are proposing. It is unique to your protocol, and it's dependent on what your research questions are. And we have a lot of team members who will do a systematic review, so we can discuss with your own team to decide on what are the data which is important when you have to extract. Fortune, any questions in YouTube, if you would like me to answer? Because this is finishing section 1, so we'll go to... Okay, sure. Finish the presentation. Okay, so now we've identified a few challenges. Now we look at how artificial intelligence, or rather, what is artificial intelligence which can help us. Artificial intelligence is nothing but a technology which simulates human intelligence and problem solving abilities, which helps computers, which helps machines to be able to simulate human intelligence. It can act on its own or it's combined with other technologies. Some need human intervention or some need human intelligence and some does not need. So right now, like how we have our GPS guidance, if you're going on a car, the GPS tells you turn right, 50 meters turn right, or 50 meters turn left, go this route. So these are things which are artificial intelligence, which can help with GPS guidance. There are some things which are chatbots, which are there in many of the sites where we go say, what do you want? They help. There's something which help in digital assistance where we need some help in certain things. This is even there in our email with the Gmail and your Outlook. You type something, the things already come. So we just have to accept the suggestions and get on. And generative AI, if there are students, this is a boon. But if you're a teacher, this is something which you may not really like, something like ChatGPT. ChatGPT has taken the world by storm where they generate a lot of things. It generates information. So that's a type of generative AI. We'll also tell about what is machine learning and deep learning. Right now, each day there's a new artificial intelligence application which comes in. So there are new tools which are available every day. So we can choose whatever works for us. At least for me, I would rather choose some things which are free rather than some things where I may have to pay some things. And ethics in artificial intelligence is coming up big time because ethics is a tricky question. There was a big debate in Twitter a few days back when a person's article had a typical chat GPT response, and people were very upset. Why did the peer reviewers not even pick it up? And how do they allow to have a chat GPT response in an article? So ethics is a very, very gray area right now. We will come back to the ethics in a bit more detail later. Okay, see, this is something which is a kind of comprehensive one about machine learning and deep learning. See, artificial intelligence is the overall thing where we are able to do things which would normally require human intelligence, but we ask machines or computers to do it for us. And machine learning is where we give the computers the ability to do without much of a hassle. And deep learning is where it is like human intelligence, where the machine has a lot of algorithms and it decides and does a lot of things. I am not very sure how many of you watched the movie The Eagle Eye. It's a movie where Vicky, I think, is the supercomputer which starts an algorithm and it starts trying to kill a lot of people, and the hero comes and stops it as usual. So that is an example of a deep learning algorithm where the machine already has the algorithms. So when we give an input, it does the algorithms and it gives an output. Machine learning is we don't have to meaning there is some amount of human interaction also, but computers have the ability to learn without being explicitly programmed. My wife is a software engineer. She writes Android programs. And one of the things which she was doing during COVID times was taking a chest X-ray and identifying if it's got COVID. So machine learning, what happened was there were some algorithms. You put the machine learning, you put the X-ray, the machine will tell you whether the person has got COVID or not based on the preset ability which you've given the program. But machine learning and deep learning, there's one thing which we need to be able to understand is they require a lot of data sets. They need to be given a lot of data to understand how to progress. And many of the software that we are using also have a lot of data sets. So what these programs would do initially is they'll make it free for people. So the moment they start people doing this, the machine learns. And once the machine becomes a bit more proficient, then they start monetizing it. So these are things which are good to understand about machine learning and deep learning. Okay, this is the key software, key slide. where we can see about how we can use AI to tackle these challenges. So what I will do is, may I please request somebody to give me a question, and we will generate a systematic review based on what you say, probably from ChatGPT. I think ChatGPT is something which is an interactive AI where you can ask questions and gives answers. So may I please ask one of you to give a question, and we will go to ChatGPT. And ChatGPT requires you to have a login. So if you have a login, please go ahead. And most of the feedback or most of the contents it gives is based on what we provide. Okay, so Fortune, I leave that to you to tell me about a question. So I'm going straight to ChatGPT.
Yeah, thanks, Lenny. My colleague Nafisa will do that. Nafisa, please don't forget to check the YouTube channel as well. Okay, so
Okay,
we have,
probably we'll take one question for the review. How can ChatGPT help? Is there anybody who hasn't heard of ChatGPT? Okay, here we are at ChatGPT. So, any questions?
yeah, I think there is a hand from Comfort Vandu. I don't know if you want her to go ahead. And then there are some suggestions already in the chat box. So I don't know if you'd want to go with them.
Maybe I would let you pick one thing, Fortune. One question. So, we'll ask ChatGPT what ChatGPT thinks about systematic review topic.
Yeah, okay, great. But we're not seeing your ChatGPT screen. We're still having the table.
Oh, oh, okay. I'm sorry. Okay, can you see my ChatGPT now?
Yeah, we can.
Okay, great. So, question. I am sure there are a lot of questions people have. Maybe for the benefit of this session, can we just have one person's question, Fortune?
Okay. Nafisa, have you picked anyone or you want me to go ahead? Okay, we have here, what are the effective violence prevention interventions in sub-Saharan Africa? So I'll just put it on the chat box again, but it's in the chat box.
What is the question again? Okay, effective violence preventions. So, ChatGPT is an generative AI. So, it gives you a lot of things which are generated. I think the problem, what is happening is, I put a systematic review topic, and it's given me a lot of things. Probably, I would say search. So I don't even have to think about what idea I have to generate. I just type in ChatGPT, it gives me a lot of things. So a few things which say which specific violence prevention interventions have demonstrated the greatest efficacy in reducing various forms of violence within sub-Saharan Africa, how do contextual factors, cultural norms, etc., key challenges, violence prevention, etc. So there you go. You just have a broad topic. You go to ChatGPT, and ChatGPT will tell you what it thinks is the best. But one negative thing about ChatGPT 3.5 is it is not live. So it's got a database. So if you ask for current trending things, ChatGPT may not be able to talk to you about. Whereas the other AI things like Bard or other Bing AI assistant would be able to tell you a bit more live, because Bard is a beta version of Google, and Bing has also got on AI recently. So you just have one topic. We can use ChatGPT to generate a lot of things. See, ChatGPT can be done for use for many things. But here, when we are stuck in a systematic review, in our context, we are talking about how can we optimize AI for systematic review. We can use it to generate a lot of questions. So I can just say a few more. It keeps adding on with questions. Maybe I'll add something like, can you give me a publishable research question? So it keeps giving. So now that it's easier to find research questions, thanks to ChatGPT. Okay, Leah, that's an interesting question. Can I use ChatGPT to do a master thesis? I think many people use it, but I think it becomes a problem if your plagiarism software picks it up. Then it becomes a problem, because it now the plagiarism software has also become very interesting. They have algorithms to figure out if you've used artificial intelligence. Is ChatGPT accepted in conducting research and publications? It's $1 million question, but as long as you declare that you've used ChatGPT for generating an outline, it is acceptable. There are some universities which ask you to declare in upfront, saying that have you used ChatGPT and to what extent have you used ChatGPT or AI. So, for example, if you do an assignment, you say, I use ChatGPT using these prompts for generating outlines. That is acceptable. But using ChatGPT to write the entire thesis is going to be an overkill, because ChatGPT is not reliable. As I told you, it does not have current knowledge. It can give you some information, but it is important for us to verify the information, because not everything what ChatGPT gives is accurate. So take the good from ChatGPT and you can start doing your own research. There are some free plagiarism checkers online, but they may not be of very good quality. So that is a problem. If you have a good plagiarism checker, I think that can figure out. If you're a teacher, definitely please ask your university to give you a good plagiarism checker, because many of the students nowadays use only ChatGPT because of the easy access that it gives. How do you verify the information ChatGPT gives you? I cannot verify unless I know my subject or I go do my research, because the responses that ChatGPT gives is dependent on what is the output I have given. So if I give a same prompt and you give a same prompt, there's going to be difference, because it is a generative AI depending on what you have done. So based on your history, it gives you certain things. Okay, the real basis, how to come up with a good research question. Good research question is dependent on you and your research team. So there's nothing called as a good research question. What is good may not be good for me. So you need to find out the reason why you want to do a good research, or the question is what is more important. Can ChatGPT give you references? Yes, absolutely, but it will not give you accurate references. So please don't rely on ChatGPT for references. We're coming back to the references. There are other AI tools which can give you references. So we'll come back to it. Can Bing serve a good alternative to ChatGPT? Yes, it's always good to have multiple things like Bard, Bing, and ChatGPT. You can use multiple things, but ultimately, you are the person who decides what you want to do. The AI cannot decide what you want to do. It is us who will decide what we have to do and what we want to do. So to write a systematic review, are we just going to read up a literature review and work on it? No, it depends on what your question is. There are some burning questions. Work according to what your field needs and take it from there. Yeah, Bing calls it Copilot now. I've not been using Bing very much. So I prefer using Bard and ChatGPT. Okay. So, okay. Bard is called Bard Gemini. Yep, that's right. So coming back to the next one, there were a lot of people who started asking about a search strategy. So there are questions which ChatGPT can help us with. There's Bard, there's Bing, there are lots and lots of AI assistants. So how do we develop a search strategy? There was some person who asked about search strategy. So it's important to have something like a concept. So it's important to have something like a concept, 1, 2, 3, based on like population, intervention, and outcomes. So we have the population as one concept, intervention as one concept, and outcome as one concept. And then individual things, we start building up on the search. So I'm going to show you something which can help you with building your own search. So if you want to find out some search strategies or search terminologies, this will help you. This is called as a pub reminer. I will just a second. Okay. This is the pub reminer. There's one thing called JSTOR also. So what this will do is, this will give me a lot of alternative search terms. So if I'm going to type on exercise, 10,000. Okay. Unfortunately, exercise got so many articles, it's going to be difficult. So if you see on the right side of the screen, there's something called as authors, country, journal, mesh, and something like publication type, substance, word, and year, etc. So probably I'll put as violence and sub-Saharan Africa. All right. So this takes some time. So what this will do is this will, okay, Edwin, I went to Google and typed for PubMed Reminer. It gives me this site. Anyways, it's there on my PowerPoint. You can look at it when Fortune sends it to you. Okay, just be patient. It takes some time because there are about 5,900 abstracts, so it's taking some time. Pub Reminder, yes, it's free. Most of the things that I'm talking about is free, but some requires you to log in with a username. I don't have access to many artificial intelligence tools, but the ones which I'm talking to you are the ones which are free. So if we look at violence in sub-Saharan Africa, there are so many things which you can take. So these are different mesh terms. Mesh means medical subject headings. So this is like a dictionary. So how we index certain things. PubMed also indexes with certain index terms. So these are the index terms that PubMed has for multiple things. So if you keep going through down, there are many, many, many terminologies which are there. So based on your concept, you can choose whatever you want. So with that, you can start building your own search strategy. So this was something which is very helpful for me. If I look at some searches, if I put these things, it gives me multiple terminology. So it's easier for me to pick up certain things which I may have missed it. So you can keep looking at it. It involves a lot of things like abortion, induced, religion, contraception, etc. for the things that we use. Not everything might be relevant, but we need to choose what we want. So somebody asked me how I went to Pub Reminer. For the benefit of this person, I will just show how I went. So I went to Google, Pub Reminer. This is the site. So it takes you to this page. So now that we've seen about how to.
Sorry, Lenny.
Yes.
Nafisa, please, if we have any relevant question on YouTube, please
What's
share
the question?
with Lenny. Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead, please.
Just let me check.
Nafisa, you said you have a question.
Professor, I will just check. You can continue. If I have, I will.
Do I continue or do you have to wait?
Continue.
Okay, sure. So we've searched about how to get questions, how to get keywords to develop a search strategy. So it's important. We get the questions, we develop a search strategy. And now that we've got the search strategy, we have articles. So what do? We go to Ryan or Covidence. Distiller SR is a very good software, but it's paid. So I don't have access to Distiller SR. Abstractor is good, but I have not used Abstractor. So Livingston, I think you've raised your hand. Would you like to ask a question? Livingston?
Yes, I found the question, but it's a bit not clear, but I will. Is there any tool for duplicating the results?
Yeah, we're coming to it. I'm coming to it. So I will show you about Ryan or Rayon, whatever you want to call it. It's a free-to-use software. It used to be called as Ryan.QCRA, Qatar Computing Research Institute. Now it's Ryan.ai. This you need to have a sign-in, otherwise it doesn't work. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Oh, you see my screen. Okay. So Ryan is a intelligent software. The interface has changed very much right now. So I'm just showing some study which we've done earlier. So it gives you option to have multiple people in the review. It can help you see what each other is doing. And the AI assistant is not live yet. Once it's live, they will tell us. So Ryan is a very good tool also for deduplicating the results. So if you look at my screen on the left, here it says possible duplicates here. So I can click on this and resolve the duplicates. So Ryan is a good tool for duplicates. Covidence is a good one. I'll show Covidence in a while. And what happens is I click on this, I can see the paper, and then I can include or exclude based on this. So based on the question itself, the software will tell you whether it's something you would like. If it's in green, that means it's something which you would like. And if it's in red, that means you may want to reject it. The older version of Ryan had some percentages also, which can tell you about how it might be helpful for accepting or rejecting it. But probably the AI assistant is not live. So once we get the AI assistant, it's not come yet live. But once it comes, once we do the data, it will tell us whether it is to be included or excluded. So more number of reds, which can tell us that it might be something which is excluded, which you can exclude, and the green ones is something which may help you to include in your search, in your study article, depending on the research question. See, the problem with Ryan is unless you work on it, it's difficult for me to explain. Ryan is a software where 2 or 3 people can do the screening simultaneously in different parts of the world. And you will know the progress of what's happening with each other like this. So how much articles have you screened? How much did the other person screen? How many conflicts are there, etc. And the best thing is it's free. In Ryan, you can put the articles by starting a new review and uploading into multiple formats. Like it involves multiple formats. You can use it from a EndNote upload or an NBib upload or any format, it uploads. So for that, I will have to start a new review. Maybe I'll show how to do a new review. So I go to create a new review. So I say violence in sub-Saharan Africa. What's my review type? Systematic review, review domain. I'll just put as social sciences. I just give some explanation about this thing. And I create a new review. Then I click on uploading the articles. I do a search study. And these are things which it accepts. It accepts EndNote. It accepts RefMan or RIS. It BibTeX or PubMed XML, CSV, anything. So I select the files. I click upload. It comes in. So then I can start doing the things. I have not done a search strategy, so I don't have any papers for it. So just for you to understand, I put that. Okay. So now we will go to Covidence. Covidence is a nice software, but it's paid. Usually the first Covidence review is free. Or if you're a Cochrane author, all the Cochrane reviews are free. So I have a Cochrane account, so I will sign in with my Cochrane account. You can sign in using your other things also, but the first review is usually free. So for time being, I'll just open this. So Covidence also is similar, but it's got some advantages where you can import the reference here and each of you can see it. So you go into this one. It shows yes, no, maybe. And we can filter the papers. You can show the criteria. So this is my criteria. These are my includes. These are my excludes. So I put in the includes. It will show it here. And these are my includes. So random is one of the includes. So it will have it here. So this way we can do it simultaneously. That's one advantage of Covidence. It's nice. Covidence was kind of good earlier. Ryan is catching up. Ryan was not as good as with the interface earlier, but now it's catching up with Covidence. And Covidence also can do full text review. Ryan, full text review was a concern earlier. Extraction also you can do, but I've never done extraction with Covidence. I've done extraction always with either paper form or Excel. So in this, we can look at the team settings. So we can set whatever things we can with title abstract. So you can have how many people should do it. What is the settings of your review? So what is this review all about? What is the eligibility criteria that we have? So we can start typing in the eligibility criteria here, and that will be highlighted in the review itself. And we can have some study tags also. So these are tags which we have done. So we can tag a study using like pain tag, strategy, spasticity, systematic review we don't need. So these are tags you can create, and this will be helpful. Okay, there's a question about can we use ChatGPT to generate relevant search string for a systematic review? Yes, you can generate search strings, but you will have to monitor them. Otherwise, we do not know whether it is appropriate or not. Pub Reminer is a time-tested one because it's got the mesh from PubMed. So that might be a bit more reliable. Of course, ChatGPT you can definitely use. So that's to do with. So we are done with questions, search strategy, and search title and abstract. This is something which really made a great change in my life. This is the polyglot adapting to search strategies, because I really am happy with doing the search strategies in PubMed, but to do it in Embase and other things, it's easier. Okay, in covenants, how do you include reasons for exclusion? Okay, I will just show you the reasons for exclusion, how we do it in covenants. So if you look at this, these are the conflicts, because one person has said it's a wrong outcome, one person has said it's a wrong study design. So whenever we exclude things in covenants will ask us for, okay, I'll show you here. So I go to the study, there's an include or exclude. So I look at the full text study and check it. So if I exclude, we have to have a reason. So the reason is what we have to put, like is a wrong dose, wrong comparator, wrong patient outcome, duplicate, etc. So this way we can find out what is the reason for exclusion. So I was telling about adapting the search strategy. Okay, systematic review accelerator, and this is a polyglot. So what happens is here we identify the search strategy already. So say I'm trying to say violence and sub-Saharan Africa. And then partner violence in title and abstract. Abuse as a mesh word. So if you click at PubMed, I'm sorry, this is jumping very fast. It will show about what is needed for me in a PubMed database. Or if for a Ovid Medline, it will tell me what is the keyword. So TAAB is the one for PubMed, TW is for other one, Mesh is for PubMed, and Expound is for Ovid and Medline. Likewise, it will give me for any database, it will just translate the search strategy which I have. So once you develop the search strategy, we can use it in whichever database that we want. Even for Embase, it has the same thing. In Sinhal, there are a lot of studies which talk about this SRA and polyglot to be a bit more reliable. So if you have the search strategy, if you want to do it at multiple databases, we just have to input it and use it with the SRA polyglot. It can give us the search strategy. This will not teach us how to do the search strategy. It is our responsibility to input the search strategy. That will translate and give us the results. Okay, any somebody says reason can be only done for full text. No, title and abstract also it will be excluded. But the reason need not give a title abstract because it will be two people who will do it. So you can do something called as note. In COVID, somebody Bill Kisu Lawal has asked a question at a title abstract. How do we do it? You give a note that can be helpful for identifying between both you and your co-researcher. Okay. So the next one, I've saved the best for the last few things. So now going on to data extraction, robot reviewer. This is also an interesting one, but robot reviewer does only for RCTs. So you go to robot reviewer and just put a demo. Unfortunately, it's not working at the moment. I'm sorry. Uh, I'll tell you what robot reviewer does. If you want to extract the data from RCTs, robot reviewer actually helps. So you can go to the site a bit more later when it's working. It's not working online. So we can put the PDF into the robot reviewer, and the robot reviewer will do the extraction, will do the risk of bias, and it will extract the outcomes you want and give the data. Interesting, right? But this does it only for RCTs. If it's a non-RCT, it may not be of help. I'm sorry it's not working. I'll try it once more. If it's working, we'll do it. Otherwise, it's going to be challenging. Oh, great. So there's already an example. They have uploaded 4. This is not mine. Somebody else has done this already. It's a demo. So they put 4 PDFs, and this is what is the report which robot reviewer gives. It gives you the risk of bias. It gives you the summary. It gives you the summary of the interventions, participants, outcomes, finding results, including the character of studies, etc., and the risk of bias. So this was partly developed with people who worked with Cochrane collaboration. So this reveals a lot of people who've done Cochrane reviews will know that these are things which are here. Typically, it will take about 45 minutes to an hour for finishing one. I think with a click of a mouse, I think you can do this using robot review, but this is only for RCTs. So now we finished with how to ask questions, ChatGPT, search strategy, abstracts, databases, data extraction. And now we're going to research writing. This is interesting. Jenny is a paid AI, but it gives us something called as a credits. So that will also be helpful. So you go to Jenny. It requires you to have a username. It says I've got a.
Sorry, Lenny, while we're waiting for you to sign in, would you want to take one or two questions?
Sure, no problem.
Nafisa, could you please share with us the questions we have?
I will share from YouTube. There are some questions. I think they have already been answered while you're talking. Okay, is there a way to check if the systematic review is done via AI tools like ChatGPT? Should I repeat the question again?
Please. Could you, Nafisa, please?
Sure. Is there a way to check if the systematic review is done via AI tools like ChatGPT? They're talking about AI detectors, I guess.
Probably yes, Turnitin and other plagiarism checkers would actually find out if you're doing it through an AI. So that can figure out if you're doing it through a AI thing. Plagiarism checker is what will check, but it will not give you similarity index, but it will talk about auto-generated content. So it gives like an auto-generated content. So they have some algorithms where they can find out if you're using ChatGPT or other things.
I would like to also to add something here. Turnitin, they have AI detectors, as you mentioned, but I think most of the universities they don't have, like, they don't subscribe to that part. For example, in my university, they had that one, but suddenly they stopped. So I think they don't pay for it. And I think this according to the guidelines of the journals itself. So each journal has a guideline
Yes.
for publishing and including AI, and some they are not. So I think it's better to check the guidelines of the journal first.
If you're a student, you'll be very happy if the university does not have a plagiarism checker, but I think that it all boils down to your ethical concern, ethical and your conscious things. So in Jenny, I've just put a research proposal on violence in sub-Saharan Africa. It'll keep asking, it'll keep giving you. So I don't have to worry about anything. It keeps giving. I just click accept if you want to accept it or not. So this is auto-generative content where you give the input and it just keeps giving you the content. So you don't have to worry about writing. So this is something which would be very helpful for us to write. But importantly, it is always good to counter check, is it right or not right? So that's where human approval needs to be there. So that's about Jenny. Okay, Hassan has asked about data extraction tool for non-RCTs. Unfortunately, I do not know of any at the moment, because even if you are doing it in a human form using your real intelligence, non-randomized studies are very, very complicated because it's not standardized. I think that's one of the reasons they're not embarking on doing a data extraction for non-randomized, because it's a bit challenging because it's heterogeneous. It's very difficult. I am not very sure about qualitative studies because I've not really worked on data extraction tools in qualitative, but ChatGPT, you can use it for qualitative studies. There are some papers which come up with some thematic analysis ChatGPT itself can do, but I'm not very sure of data extraction tools. Sorry. Now the last one, if we have some more time, we are slightly running short on time, 5 minutes. Research Rabbit is something which is very, very, very helpful when it comes to finding citations and related articles and the networks. Okay, so I just go here and I put as violence in sub-Saharan Africa. Okay, let's put all subject areas. Now, Research Rabbit will give me a lot of recommendations. Because I'm sure there are a lot of articles in it, and Semantic Scholar will take some time. Okay, Pius, I think that's a great point. After using all the AI tools, you have to indicate to a journal that you've used AI tools. Absolutely. To be on the ethical side, if you've used AI tools, it's always good to pre-declare that you've done it. In fact, there are a few articles which say that ChatGPT was one of the authors. Some people are for it and some people are totally against it. So it's good to be transparent and good to be upfront. Oh, God. Unfortunately, it's not there. Maybe I'll do one thing to be a bit more easier. I just put exercise in osteoarthritis. Research Rabbit is free, yes. So what I'm doing is I'm just checking on few key articles. So I click this article and say add to collection. So now I go back to the collection on this article. So when I click on this article, there are about 1,554 articles, papers, which have done it similarly. And this has got about 80 references and about 154 citations. And if I want to explore the same author, I just click on the author. Okay. Fiona Dobson happens to be my friend. So Kim Bennell and Rana Hinman are the people from Melbourne. So I click on Fiona Dobson. It will give me her published work and her collaborators and her work. Or if I click on Rana Hinman, it will give about her own network and etc. It will take some time for the network to build. So probably I will change the thing and I will click on similar work. So I click on this. See, these are the things which are involved. So Bennell 2014 is connected to Conaghan 2008. So these are the related networks. How much this paper has been cited by this one? How much is this one? These are the poor people which have been never cited. And these are the network. So with this, we can find a network of citation, the articles, the authors, and everybody, how they are interconnected. And with this, we can start working on a literature review and finding the networks. Jenny is free, yes, but it's got some limited credits. If you want to upgrade to higher versions, it comes with a price. So we've looked at these multiple problems like questions, search strategies, screening title and abstract. How can we adapt the searches to databases? How to extract data? How to do some research writing when we find it difficult to write? Or we cannot find multiple articles. We have always AI tools. So I would like you to think about this. AI is neither good nor evil. It's just a tool. It's a technology for us to use. It all depends on how we are going to use it. And to summarize, this was my objectives. By the end of this workshop, the participant would be able to list the process involved in preparing a systematic review, to identify the common challenges faced during the process, and to explore the role of artificial intelligence in systematic review. So if you think I have not covered some things, please feel free to use the chat. So it will be helpful for me also to tell you. And if you have any feedback and suggestions, I'd be happy to take some suggestions. If you want to have some collaborations, please feel free to send an email and we'll be happy to work it along. So thank you, Fortune, and the team in AC SRM. 4:31, I finished. I would be happy to stay back for another 5-10 minutes to take some questions. Understanding the time, you can probably go if you have some work, or maybe I'll stay for another 10 minutes. If you have some questions, I'll be happy to take it.
Thank you very much, Dr. Laney. It was really fantastic, and it's good to see the very, very heartwarming feedbacks we're already getting in the chat box. But then we are already beyond time. The session was scheduled for 1 hour, 30 minutes. So we have barely have 5 more minutes to stay. So then I know we still have lots of questions. So Nafisa will share the question box in the chat box, and you can share your questions there. We'll be creating a blog post on our website, and we'll be attempting to answer some of these questions. And then she would share a feedback form as well with you. So you could share with us your feedback, tell us what you think about the session, tell us what you think we can improve, and that would be really appreciated. So yes, to answer the question on the slide, we'll share the slide with all participants registered for the session. But if you did not register, it might be difficult for you to get it. You would have to check our SlideShare platform to know when we have uploaded it. Yes, Nafisa has shared the feedback form, and we're looking forward to getting your feedback and knowing what we could improve on. Thank you.
Perfect.
For certificates, yes, this is a certificate webinar. We'll be sharing the quiz with you via email. And once you complete the quiz and meet the requirements, you would be able to get a certificate. And no, ChatGPT is not allowed, or any other AI tool is not allowed for answering the certificate questions. So we'll be combining this session with 1 or 2 other sessions that we've had. So the certificate of attendance that you'll be receiving will be covering these 3 sessions. So in a few days to come, you'll receive our email, and we'll be sharing with you how we'd go about the certificate process. And if you've had any certificate challenges before, we put that into consideration, and we have sorted that out. We don't expect to have any challenges with certificates anymore. So then we are really thankful to you once again for joining, and we encourage you to follow us on our social media handles, because we have lots of sessions coming up in the coming month. We will be doing a detailed session on conducting systematic literature search that will be coming up May of this month. And then we have a systematic review workshop that is coming up in Ghana. It's an hybrid workshop. So I don't know if Nafisa can share the link to that feedback. We like to know how much you would be willing to pay for a systematic review workshop as a virtual or as an in-person participant. Nafisa, I don't know if you can lay on the link. You can share with participants. But then we'll be sharing it through their email as well. But if we can
Just a second.
Okay.
Meanwhile, let's just answer one question. Somebody's asked about AI and sample size calculation. I really have not tried it, but there are some free softwares like G-Power. You can use it for calculating sample size. And there's another software called NMaster, which is developed by Christian Medical College, Vellore. I don't think it's available free. You can get it for a price. I don't think we get it for free as well here. But G-Power is a software which you can use it for free to calculate your own sample size, if that's what you're looking at.
All right. Okay, Lenny, can you take one more question? Is it possible for you to take one more question?
Sure. Go ahead.
I would like to address a question in the YouTube. It's about bibliometric review, and they are asking if Research Rapid can be used for bibliometric analysis.
Everything starts with a question. So if you do not have a question, it becomes very difficult. Bibliometric analysis is, I'm not an expert in bibliometric analysis, but I have friends who do bibliometric analysis and citation analysis. So unless there's a question, it becomes very difficult to answer. So everything starts with a question. So what do you want to do the bibliometric analysis for, and what do you want to do the citation analysis for? So it all starts with a question, and you take it from there. What would you like to achieve at the end of the bibliometric analysis?
All right, thank you very much. Thank you very much, everybody. The session that was supposed to have held last week, we'll be putting it for next month, mid of April, like we told you in the email. So we'll let you know the exact dates and time that it will be holding very soon. Thank you very much. So can we take a group photo now? So if you can, please put on your camera. I would like to take a group photo. Thank you.
I also shared the link to the form, so you can check it in the chat.
Yeah, okay, thank you. Nafisa, would you be taking the photos?
Right, just a sec. If you are
So
ready, I will start because you have a lot of screens, so I will start. 1, 2,
Yeah.
3, you can smile, make any movement or good. The first one I've done. I'm gonna go to the next one. We are in the third. Done.